Well, if they have delivery tonight, right in between puck drop of Rangers and Blackhawks and Cubs and Buccos, I think I'll be up in the press box, not going anywhere.
Now, here's the great thing about the United Center. I got to call a game there last year for the first time, and Eddie could attest he's there all the time. Between periods,
right,
they served food. And they had these meatballs, not miniature meatballs, big meatballs. And I almost wept. I said to Dave, they serve meatballs between periods.
And big ones.
I was like, give me a break. This is fabulous.
Hey, Donnie and Michael, you know this. The NHL doesn't stand for National Hockey League. It stands for Never Hungry League. Remember that.
That's true.
Amazing. All right,
How you guys doing? You guys doing all right?
I'm doing very well.
We're doing very, very well. The Rangers start tonight, and you have the game against the Blackhawks on NBC Sports Network. Is this Ranger team better than last year? Obviously, they had with the cap, you got to make changes all the time, Eddie. Is this a better team or a worse team?
I mean, I think the loss of Hagelin's really going to be one of those down the road that you're going to, look at, Michael, and look, the cap is what it is, and we know why, the Rangers had to make the decision to move him out, and it's contractual, but I think a lot of it rides on, where is Kevin Hayes going to play? Is he going to be a winger on the second line, or or do they have enough depth in that third line position to have a guy that is going to be a 60-plus point guy, in my opinion, every year? Do they have enough talent around him on that third line, and and how will AV play those guys? So I'm not sure. I would say, to me, the Rangers are a Final Four team again in the Eastern Conference. Now you need to stay healthy, you need a little bit of luck, and you got to be able to find that offensive swagger that they found for the majority of last regular season. But as we've seen, just get in. Just give yourself to get in. Your defense is solid. So I think the jury's still out whether or not they're, better or not from last season.
And Eddie, what might ultimately determine whether they can be a 50-plus win team is Washington and Columbus and the Islanders.
Yeah,
I think all those teams are so much better that even if the Rangers are a tick better, it may not show in the standings.
No, like I said, just get in. Just give yourself a chance to get into the dance, and then whatever happens with matchups and health and all those things, you deal with it. So for me, you're right, Donnie. I look at what's gone on in the East, and you mentioned those two. You mentioned the Capitals and the Blue Jackets. I think those are the two teams that have had the biggest impact in the off season, whether it's free agency or via trades. Obviously, Columbus with the big trade with Chicago getting Brandon Saad, but. It is one of those things where you let things play out, and if you have some maneuverability with the salary cap, and you can make some moves, and you can, like Slats did last year with bringing in a guy like Keith Yandel, things are going to be pretty good. So a lot of hockey to be played, but you're right, very competitive, and doesn't matter where you are in the division as long as you can get in. It's been proven with the teams that have won where they've come from. Doesn't mean you have to be the number one team in the East or the West as long as you give yourself a chance to play for the Stanley Cup.
I think the Rangers have 17 back-to-backs in their schedule. And Alain Vigneault said, I have never seen that many. And he said he really wants to keep Lundqvist to about 60 games. Is it possible and still try to win every single game? I mean, do you have to play him in some back-to-backs? And at the beginning of the year, he's got a choice here this week what he's going to do.
Yeah. Well, they got a pretty good backup in Antti Raanta. I know him. I know him very well from his days in Chicago, Michael. So I mean, he's very serviceable. And if AV wants to play him 25 games, I think he can do it. And I think with the type of team you have and that defensive core, with the leadership of Ryan McDonough and Girardi and Stahl, I think you go ahead and you play him and you pick your spots, obviously. So yeah, early in the year. Yeah, go ahead. If the King is feeling good, you go ahead and play him in the back-to-back. That is a lot of games, but I'm sure at some point when AV was in Vancouver, I'm sure he had a number of those back-to-backs, and you just kind of deal with what the schedule has to you. And look, if you're playing well, You want to play. I mean, you forget practice. I mean, Allen Iverson would love that type of schedule. Practice. I mean, let's just go play.
And with the Eastern teams, it's not that big of a deal. A lot of those back-to-backs are not long flights or kind of long turnover. We're talking Eddie Olcyzk from NBC. Of course, NBC Sportsnet's got the call, the opener for the Blackhawks and the Rangers tonight in the National Hockey League. Islanders start tomorrow. Devils start coming up on Friday. But Kreider, this is a guy, they need that second scorer. They need that complementary player. Can this be the year that Kreider can be that guy?
Well, they're hoping so, and I think we've seen flashes of that. And then we've had this conversation before, Donnie. I mean, whether it's in, off the air in between periods at MSG or, when we've talked over the last couple of years. Like when Chris Kreider, and I saw Chris Kreider play a lot of college hockey because he's the same age as my oldest son, and my son being at UMass, and Kreider being at Boston. Like when he's not effective is when he's going east-west. Like when he's most effective is when he is going straight ahead, touches the puck just outside the blue line or inside the offensive zone, and that's where he is so dynamic.